Hello everyone, how are y'all doing? So I just decided to make my evening a bit more interesting and do some streaming. It's unusual for me to be streaming like on Tuesdays, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, how are y'all doing? What's up? Sort of just playing on my end with settings. John Roberts, the man who knew way too much. Miko, John West, Samer, Starseed, hi everyone, how are y'all doing? Yeah, I didn't really actually have like anything specific to talk about yet, but I thought like if any of you have questions or if I can be here to give you any value or share anything, I'm here for you all. So yeah, yeah. How am I? I'm good. Actually productive today. Like did lots of sessions, got back to a lot of people. Finally getting back to it because like actually like I took a break and then stuff with my cat happened, and after that like I was even like taking more of a break from the sessions and all the stuff. So yeah, I was sort of just like out for a little bit, but now finally like getting back to the people I was working with and finding some more interesting stuff like with the abductions, with past lives, with things connected that are like controlling our lives and all this stuff. So yeah, we'll see what's up. Wave saying Santa's coming. Yeah, really, huh? Messing with my headphones, didn't really have the chance to play around. Starcy saying that the download link didn't work. I used the same one I sent you like long time ago, and that was probably like the email you didn't get. And if it's not working, then it's probably like one of those that actually got deleted. Because like I don't hold the sessions for months. It's like out there for like a few days, a few weeks, and like my MediaFire only has like 1 GB of free space, which means like I load up with tons of sessions, and like if I make like 10 new ones, the old ones are going to be deleted fast. So if like you didn't get it, or like I sent it to you and you didn't have the chance to download it like the first week, it's probably like gone. So we'll see. But that being said, Starseed, like me doing sessions on you, have you felt any changes? Because from what you're writing, I'm sort of like noticing that you're not actually getting better. So I'm like, like have you tried finding someone else that would be better for you or anything? Milko's asking, what is the purpose of life? I don't know, you answer, buddy. Everyone's having different ones, like, everyone has different names, different things to do in life, so can't be same for everyone, You just got the first session, like what about the ones I wrote you on Facebook? Because I told you about them and like named everything that happened that I saw. Anything? Plus like yeah, you got the first one, but then I sent you like a few other links, and then I told you like separately about the other sessions. So we'll see. Will I ever start doing sessions again? Yes. I'm actually transitioning. I'm like making a more interesting thing where I'm gonna like download sort of like photos or like layouts of the body, and more of like from people who are like, let's say, creating the models of a human body. So like it'll be easier to check out space. But the specific idea is like start out with the physical body, and those that have difficulties, like let's say they might have headaches, chest aches, lower back aches, or like different kind of variations with the physical body. People can write emails like regarding like, hey, I have a headache, or like I have my tooth hurts, or like I have brain fog or whatever. So like the issues they have with the physical body, I will be able to address it throughout the sessions. And I want to make it happen so that, let's say, a person can drop like $5, but the needed amount will be certain, like I don't know, like 50, 80 or something. And so like 5, 10, 20 people can like pay a little bit, but then once we collect just a little amount of money, then I can do the session. And the idea is to make the session not for one person, but for the whole humanity as a whole, And so like, for example, like a person like gives me $5 and saying, I have a headache. And then another one like gives me $50, I have a headache and a backache, so just split the money or whatever. So basically if I collect like, let's say $50 on headache, I would do, like, let's say a session with me and Rich. We're gonna do the session on headaches and what caused it, maybe specific place in the head or whatever. And it doesn't matter how long it takes, whether it's like 30 minutes, an hour, or whatever. We do the session, but basically go not for a person, but like human beings that have this kind of ache. And then as we would do the sessions, whatever we find, we upload it on YouTube. So those that, like, let's say listen as the audience, they more like contribute or like for the whole project, but then everyone else gets the access to it, and more like everyone that listens deep inside, they might sort of relate to it, and then those that do relate might feel some changes. So we'll see, but yeah, I'm actually sort of like figuring out some new things I could do with sessions, some changing up, and I might get back to doing consultations, because there's like a lot of people like asking like, hey, could just like Q&A and all this stuff, could I just call you and like talk about life and all this stuff. So I've been like doing those, like where I actually like spent a few like days, yeah, like yesterday and the day before yesterday, like 3 hours, 4 hours just talking to one person at a time, and it's actually fun. It's actually like it's been a while. I miss that sort of conversations, and it's good to sort of like, I don't know, like give value to people if I feel like I can do that. But yeah, it's actually fun. Yeah, like regarding one-on-one sessions, I might do it. Like consultations, yes. The one-on-one sessions maybe in the future, but like right now, like I want to change it up and do more people. So you'll see if I can actually get like the whole group notice anything. Samir Youssef is saying, let's start with my question. Tell us about the thought process and what role does our physical brain play? So, because I have not studied the biology or human anatomy that much to tell you everything about the brain and how everything connects, I'm just going to talk more about the whole thought process. And from what I noticed and the beings I have talked to that, like, let's say that pass away from Earth and like are out there, so like let's say dead people on Earth who I've met out there in the astral, beings out there in different multiverses, beings like from different races, when I talk to them, one thing they have in common is that they don't really think. Like, it's very clear within their head or their space, and they don't go like inner talking like, oh, I'm just gonna pick up a cup of tea and just drink it. They don't talk or think like that. They just pick it up and do it. So it's more of an action, it's more of a knowledge, it's more of an awareness rather than think. And throughout the day, the whole day, let's say a lot of people right here might feel like, oh, I have entities, I have this to do, and I have this to do. Oh, and I remember blah, 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 blah. Like there's just tons of thoughts in the head. It's just like lots, it's like overloading. And let's say when a physical body drops dead, or when you're out of body, when you're in the astral, when you're free from this shit all, like more of a, not just the earth itself, but even like from the third like density, like more of a thing. A lot of beings say that like, hey, once we like once the physical body drops dead, or once we're free, once we're out there, no thoughts. You're just out there, but it's so very clear. Not a single thought of like, oh, I'm gonna whatever. It's just sort of like awareness, just the perception. You look at things, you listen, you taste them, like sort of like you all of your like perceptions are getting like much higher, but the talking isn't the thing. People communicate with like telepathic and more like just like exchanging concepts and ideas and other things. And of course you can talk, it's not like it's non-existent, but this whole like thinking process we have on Earth is not a thing out there. So like that's one thing. But then it doesn't end here, because we are more like consciousness, or let's say awareness, who is gathering just tons of clusters of consciousness and entities and other beings in one space. And a lot of people like are worrying like, oh, I have like this whole disorder of personalities, like multiple personality disorder, and like just schizophrenia and all this stuff. But the thing is, like, the more I'm noticing, the more like I'm thinking like absolutely everyone has it. And the thing is, we have tons of different personalities. For example, like one day you're satisfied with life, like when you're like, ah, everything's great, like I have everything covered, I'm so satisfied, everything's perfect. But at the same time you're like, well, everything's perfect, but like I want things to be better. and all of a sudden you had one personality that's like satisfied with everything, and then it switches into actually you want more. You want to do more, you want to achieve more, you want to make things better and all this stuff. So you're like, now you have two personalities. And then you get sad about something, then you get aggravated about something, and tons of different personalities. But the thing is, like, a lot of those personalities are coming from either different entities or like clusters of consciousness, and some of them are here and are good and are serving us, like good feelings and all this stuff, but a lot of them might come as entities and overwhelm us. So like literally, it's kind of like the point of view that is using tons of entity clusters in one space and using it to communicate through this physical body, so to speak. So like there's a lot of like this, like our thoughts, like we ourselves are just like clusters of entities and bits of consciousness and all this stuff. And with all that, like the whole thoughts and communicating, a lot of what you think is not yours already. A lot of it is implanted and is foreign, and like just like other beings in your space thinking it, and you are sort of like identifying that, like, oh, it's me feeling that, but you have no idea there's actually entities in your space having that thought, and you assume that like you are feeling that and not them. And so like we sort of misidentify whose feelings and thoughts are those, and like end up communicating and end up being controlled usually. So like there's a lot of that. So like just tons of clusters of entities and other parts of consciousness around us that are like have different personalities and emotions and feelings and thoughts, and we're basically point of awareness expressing all of those clusters through this physical body. And there you go. And we have here Dirk and Jake Parsons, Celtics, Lioness of Gaia, Cosmos United. Hello everyone, good to see you all. So Waves is asking more inner being questions. If our original self is off doing other things, what's left with us locally, just the mind and ego? So from my perspective, let's say our original self is absolutely everywhere. Like, just because you split off, like let's say as a consciousness or just point of view or perception, you decide to have more experiences, just more point of views, and you, let's say, split into tons of parts of awareness, and now you can experience everything simultaneously. It does not mean that you are lower by any standard. It does not mean that, like, let's say this is that thing and you're just a little bitty thing or whatever. You're same original. You are the same old being. So let's say like consciousness, it's not actually something you can touch or like, let's say, you know, put in a shape or anything. It's more of just a perception. And let's say like as a consciousness, because you can't touch it, like point of views, like the way you see from your eyes right now, imagine having your eyes here, and then maybe at your parents' place, maybe at some people you know, maybe at the beach, maybe at the park, maybe next to a puppy, maybe next somewhere else. And now you have like tons of cameras, like, you know, like let's say a security guard is watching tons of screens and just looking at like what's going on. So the same way our consciousness, like one consciousness operates every single bit, and this is how we are. But just because you're seeing everything from here and there are other parts out there, it does not mean that you are not original. You are original, and you're experiencing everything from here and there and everywhere else simultaneously. So your original self is all here and elsewhere as well. It's not like you become smaller part, there's higher over or something bigger. No, you're still the same being. It's just that, let's say when you came here, you got more limited, you forgot some things, and now you can't connect the whole picture, but you still have the same sort of experience. So I would say like I'm just gonna read the question over again. If our original self is off doing something else, what's left with us locally? I would say it's the same consciousness. Like the original self is all here within. So hopefully that answers your question. Waves also has another question. If our daydreams are creating stuff in other realms, great. Next step, create that girl on the beach here. Pretty much, exactly. Let's say you're daydreaming and just fantasizing about better life or how things could be is already manifesting things in other realities because you have such an easy way to create things. And now, as you like fantasize about those things, you can actually put it here. Like imagine like, okay, here on Earth, me and that girl together. We're having a great time, we're connected, we're in love. And you would basically even imagine, like, I don't know, like California beach or something, just like look for a specific place that you've maybe already have been in, where you feel more comfortable, where like, you know, like you have some experience, because that will allow you to sort of like, I know this place, I've experienced something over there already, so you're gonna feel more comfortable and it's gonna be easier to imagine and sort of like focus on it. And at the same time, just like because you've been there, for example, you can sort of like just create this person with you over there, and you don't have to really stand on the beach, but like no matter where you are, you can like actually think about like, hey, I want this person in my life, so what do I do? And as you're experiencing your every single day life, you just like allow this person to be next to you. Just imagine what would it be like driving a car, going for a walk together, eating dinner together or something else. Like what kind of conversations you would have. And as you're focusing on this sort of reality, you're slowly starting to manifest it. And I think the biggest part to it all is to allow yourself to dream, to think, to focus, to create, but don't go like, it's never gonna happen. Yeah, I can't just manifest. Like, it's just not happening. Like, create it like you sort of like, oh, I want to actually go have some tea. And you have the tea and you let go of like, I still want another one because I just finished this one. So, you have the experience and you experience it like, and it's done. Take a break. Take it as a win and do something else and refocus. And try not to sort of like, be with, I want this person with me, but create like, I am with this person right here, right now. You create a whole scene and scenario and just sort of like live it for a few minutes, a few hours, and then you're done. Take a break. Because the more you focus on like creating and then like refocus like, yeah, but it's not happening, the moment you start doubting yourself or like thinking like it's not happening, or like, you know, like some other like negative thoughts come in, you just ruin the whole creation. So it's important to learn to, let's say, create the whole scene, enjoy it for a little while, and then let go. Not try to manifest it, not try to make it happen, but just enjoy the experience. That was fun. I'm gonna do something else and refocus. And not try to manifest, but just experience it. But because you are experiencing that reality and everything you can imagine, you can create, and you are already creating it already, so you know, you can like really attract things and make it happen. But like the more you try to focus on manifesting it, the more you will see like, hey, it's not working. And the more you doubt yourself, the more you say like, it's not working, it's not happening, it's just like useless, the more you're gonna create a reality where you can't create anything. So try to like sort of like enjoy your time in the whole scenery, but let go of it, do something else. So there's that. By the way, people, I'll just mention one thing. I had some people like complaining like, hey, well, like that person's asking like way too many questions and all this stuff. And here's the thing, like this is my show, and I like it's all Q&A, so it's all set up for you to ask any questions, as many as you want about absolutely anything. And there's no limit to how many you can ask. So I am really happy when you're asking and just spamming me with questions and all the other things, and I'll try to get back as to many as you as I can or I want. And another thing, I am the one choosing and giving the priority to what to answer and not to answer. So, you know, do not allow anyone to make you feel bad, wrong, and guilty. And just like feel free to ask anything you want as many times, and you know, it's my house, my rules. Don't let anyone tell us like, you know, like, yeah, you're asking way too much, stop that. And like, be yourself, do what you want to do. So there you go. Just a little thing I wanted to share. Caleb, yeah. Power level is over 9,000, pretty sure. Stars is asking, like, do you remember the time when you first noticed you were awareness in existence in your first name? Yeah, I was here on Earth. I was like, oh, I'm actually awareness in the human body, and my name is Akvile, and actually, I'm more than that. So, if you're asking that, that was like the first time. But then, like, recalling my past lives, like, there's actually, not really like a limit or time, because there actually is no time. So where we look at like, oh, quadrillion years or whatever, like, it's all crap anyways. Just like awareness. First there's awareness, first there's experience, and the whole concepts of time and names and everything else is just additional labels and useless information. So I wasn't paying attention to that. MXQI is asking, do you have any advice to those who worry about letting go of focus on the current work climate for a positive timeline? Yeah, it's a good one. It's a really good one. So I'm like actually noticing a lot of people like trying to do that. Like you see everything's going on and it's not fun. You open up like any social media and all you're getting is like, let's say, fact checkers and tons of information and like all the numbers, and it's like, you know, it can piss you off, it can make you feel sad, weird, and all this stuff, and you're just sort of like, fuck that stuff, you know? So most people here, I assume, are already not watching TV. And for me myself, I started limiting my attention or time spent on social media, which means like, let's say, Facebook, Twitter, MeWe. There's like another kind of like Facebook's alternative, and like all the other spaces. Like I'll just like try to spend as little time as possible. But then there's the other thing. Like, you know, like one thing is what you're focusing on, and like one thing is like, let's say, oh, I'm spending time like on Instagram or something else, just like scrolling and looking at the photos or some other things. But then like, oops, someone just like uploaded that thing, and like you see that, and then it triggers you. So one thing like I'm doing like you just can't turn blind to it, and like it's gonna be there all the time. Like people will talk about it, and if you're just trying to run away from it and just like avoid all of it, you know, it's gonna be there. You know, like now right now everyone's focusing on it, or like at least most people are focusing on it, so you're gonna run into it one way or another. So instead of like trying to run away from it, I would just say work on how you react to things, and how you deal with it. For example, like, you know, like even if you're trying to turn it all off, I'm more of a, okay, like, so like I see those news. What does it mean to me? How do I feel about it all? And like, okay, yeah, like I don't like it. Like I know like most of it is lies. I don't believe it. Like even in Lithuania they have like numbers out of the blue. Like one day it's only like 13 people. Like, oh, 13 people have corona. Next day 3,000. It's like, where the fuck do you get these numbers, you know? So like it can be like an aggravating stuff. But for me, like the more I started focusing, like, okay, whatever's going on is gonna happen. I'm not gonna be ignorant or try to not look at it. It's just gonna pop up and I'm like, okay, I see it. But I'm not gonna get engaged with it. I'm not gonna like spend my time looking at it or like researching or like trying to like talk to people and make them believe stuff, or like, hey, you have to look at this like this, is this way, listen to me. Like I'm not gonna try to prove my point or anything. I'm gonna like more, instead of like trying to fix things or like really tell how it all is, I'm gonna focus on myself. Because eventually, let's say if I eat healthy, if I take care of myself, if I read more interesting stuff and I learn about things for myself, I'm growing as a person, and every day becomes satisfying. Like achieving certain projects and spending time with people you like, or listening to music, just doing stuff that makes you happy. And the more time you spend doing that, the more you're focused on the things that will make you happy. And next time a thing about, let's say, the world station pops up, it's like, okay, whatever. But it's not really like in your interest. So you're not like turning blind or avoiding all information, but more like just sort of like redirecting your attention and how you feel about things. So like for me, it's more of a thing that works. But yeah, like I would just sort of like switch my priorities, because like this information, you know, you're gonna hear all about in that bad news and all this stuff, and you know, Which reminds me, people, how is your December 21st? How is this massive event going for everyone? Like, everyone's like, oh, this event's gonna happen. I'm like, just another day here. Like, nothing different. Like, I know it's like a lot of people, like, probably, like, are getting the energetic changes or waking up and all this stuff, but, like, we had people here in the chat saying, oh, the world's gonna end, like, everything's gonna be different, and I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm listening. But yeah, it's just not happening. On my world, at least. Miko is asking, can fart travel to 5th dimension and make aliens sad? Well, I don't know, like imagine putting your fart in a letter and sending it off to someone out there. We'll see how that works. Cosmos, thank you for a big donation. Appreciate it. Yeah, and also you have a question, can we break soul twin flame connection, or is it illusionary when we break up? Yeah, when breaking up these things, like the connection, all the stuff, it is real. Yes, you can, with absolutely everyone. And the thing about like the whole twin flames, soulmates, and all the other things that are like have similar labels, it's just, let's say, another relationship you have out there in the multiverse, and through all of your experiences. For example, the way in this life people can have, let's say, husband, wife, best friends, and then people they know, there are certain people that we are more connected to, that we like more, that we feel safer with, and with that connection is sort of like more valuable. And when that connection is a bit more repetitive in other lives, as in, you two are just like very strong, and you might be playing different roles, as in, I don't know, like teacher, students, best friends, and co-workers, and all the other things. As you're playing like all those roles, you eventually sort of like, hey, that was fun playing it together. Like we did a lot of stuff, and I feel great with you. Like playing a game together, and you feel like, hey, great team, let's do it again. And you end up with that game, and you play another game, and sort of like you just like find yourself to be the best team possible, and it's fun. But then throughout the whole multiverse, there are tons of these people that we have, let's say, great teams with, great connection with. So you might have, let's say, twin flames or like soulmates and all this stuff, but it can be thousands and hundreds of thousands and millions of them. So let's say when you come here on Earth and you find another person you have been with in the past that you feel connected to, and you're like, damn, this is so good, like I feel all these feelings. But then it might come crashing. It might feel like hell. It might feel like I'm the only one with those feelings and that person has no response. I'm the only one who sort of just like start feeling all these things and I'm getting all ignored and all this stuff. And there's like a lot of things going on. So like these relationships are getting controlled and manipulated a lot of times. And let's say you had enough, you've been tortured, and now you're like, I want to end it. So the moment you decide to end this relationship, you can disconnect. It is not an illusion. So when you break up, but more like in this life. You're like, hey, it's not working out for us here. We might connect somewhere else and do it elsewhere, but when it's both like when it's beneficial for both of us. So you end it here, and you leave this place eventually, and you're out there. So you and that person can still have a great connection elsewhere, but in a place where it is not controlled, manipulated, and affected by the third party. So you two can have an awesome connection, even if you end things here. So you can end off any relationships and connections if it's stirring up too much, and still have awesome relationships elsewhere. And basically, the consciousness understands, like, hey, we're being manipulated here, we're being targeted, so ending off any relationship here is good if it's not working for you. Take care of yourself, but when you're out there, you can still get plenty of love and connection from the same beings you've been with. So it's not like you end it fully, unless you want to, of course, unless you're like, hey, I'm done with you forever, get the hell out, So you can actually end it off for the good. But literally, you can cut off and like let's say like cut the connection with like twin flames and soulmates here and say like it's not working, and then at the same time, even if you decide like it's not working and after a while you change your mind, you can still connect. So like we have this strength of changing our mind at any point in time, changing our decision. Like things might work and it's great, things might not work, it's like okay, like it's just working, bye now. And being able to say no, being able to quit, being able to back off at any point in time is your strength. So don't consider like it's bad or it's wrong and all this stuff. Do what's best for you, back off or like disconnect if it's better for you that way. But remember that you have the freedom to, let's say, even if you end things here on Earth, you can still find the same beings, the same consciousness out there, and especially in places where they're not controlled and are affected, and you can have that perfect relationship out there and nothing will end. So like if you feel like I want this person or this being in my life, but here on Earth it's just not possible. So you find the same person and being over like somewhere else, and you can have the perfect relationship, but now it's gonna be safe. So yeah, there's that. Melina Murphy is asking, how possible is it to change things about your physical body here in the 3D like you can in the astral? Is it the same, just slower? The answer, I would say no, because here on Earth, we're more sort of like dependent on the collective agreements we might have here, which means if you agree like, okay, like I was born with the let's say physical body of a male or female, I'm gonna end up being that unless I do a plastic surgery. So let's say while in the astral, we can change our sex and looks right away and it takes no time. That is because there are no limits and rules and you are the creator. Here we already sort of come in agreeing that like, oh okay, I'll play by the rules, and one of the rules is like you can't edit things, like you can't edit yourself that like easily. So more of, let's say, plastic surgeries and like other things possible nowadays, but because of the collective agreements, like, hey, physical body, you can't just change like that. It's not gonna happen. So on Earth, it's more of a thing that's not gonna really work because of the collective agreements, and like you're just like coming here and like living your whole life believing like, hey, I am this person, this is how I look. And you sort of get used to it, this is your normal state. So now to actually break free from those agreements or like your beliefs that you've had for your whole life, it's gonna be even harder. It's kind of like people trying to think like, hey, I'm gonna win 1,000,000, but they always doubt. Like they don't really have like this like, hey, I'm actually winning. Yeah, like they don't contain their state for a long time. It's just like for a little bit to sort of like fake it, but it ends there. And then like they know like, hey, I've lost plenty of times already, so whatever, just gonna try my luck this time. And like they already know it's not gonna happen. They're not living in like I'm actually different right now. So just because we are sort of like living with all those agreements and like limiting beliefs, we can't adjust ourselves that easily. There are some things like with the physical body, like our energy that can be changed, personalities and everything else, if that's what you're talking about. But like the looks itself, that'd be super hard. I would like even say like on Earth it's not in my possibility region. So that'd be my take on it. Cyber Yusuf was asking like how old am I, and like Sarsi already answered, but like I'm 23 right now, so yeah. Andres is saying, since I'm protecting myself during sleep with 4 guardians every night, my sleep is much better. I remember dreams and am much more rested in the mornings, but I also realize my health is rising. Wow, that's really good. Like, I'm actually really glad you're getting these changes, and even like more glad that some of these techniques were actually working for you. That's really good. And I was also asking, is it possible entities are messing with our health during sleep? 100%. 100%. Sometimes, let's say, the physical body falls asleep, and your consciousness can be taken and messed with. When you come back, like you sort of like change a little bit, but that's just the consciousness. But some of those beings out there are actually, let's say, taking your astral body and doing these astral surgeries. And because the astral body is kind of like the copy or like the double of the physical body, so whatever is done to the astral body will be like a voodoo doll and sort of like affect the physical. And if these entities, let's say, do surgeries or like stab your heart or like mess with your spine or something else, like they literally can have this, let's say, an implant like a snake crawling within your spine, and then it locks you up. And you wake up in the morning and you feel like really stiff, like you can't move like usual. Your spine feels like artificial and all this stuff. So like there's a lot of things that can happen to the astral body that will affect the physical body. So yeah, they can mess with us that ways. Keymaker is saying, Merry Christmas everyone, and Akvile 2021 is going to be way better than 2020, starting soon. So, yeah, that being said, what do you think will change in 2021? Do you think all the stuff we have here and this year will end, or what makes you think it's going to be better? I'm actually like looking forward, like, for me, I'm just trying to make things good for myself no matter what. Like, not paying attention to the year, to the month, to time, to things going on in the world. Like I'm not ignorant, but at the same time, I'm not allowing a lot of these events to affect me. Like, let's say, playing Cyberpunk game, and a lot of people are just like really bummed out about it, and I'm actually having fun. And people like really struggling with Corona, and I'm actually like, life is good for me, So like I'm not trying to, I don't know, like just like trying to live best, or like just to be the best version of myself, do what's really good for me and all this stuff. So like that's working. Oh, Key's aching, like Trump's gonna make an announcement soon about corruption. Hope so. I was like actually looking forward to this. I feel like what, like, what's the date? Like, was it like before Christmas or like January 3rd or something? Because I remember like reading about it. Like, there's a lot of people saying like, like he, like the plan, like what the Q community says and all this stuff. Like a lot of people are sharing like, everything was actually set up. They're actually gonna like disclose the whole elite with that, or like at least the whole corruption of wealth fraud and all this stuff. So like it would be really, really great if it happens. Like I'm actually looking forward to that, but like I'm like not many expectations. Many sleepy peeps will be forced to wake up. Yeah, at least hope so. 24th December, great. Yeah, so 2 days. All right, that's something to look forward to. Good. January 6th and December 24th. Okay. So these are the days to remember, because like I haven't been following the news too much, but I remember like from back when I did the video about the Trump, I still like for a few days I looked up at the few communities that were talking about such things, and it's kind of like, yeah, cool, like they're hopeful, they're finding like some info, and I was like, yay. So we'll see. Yeah, I agree with you, Cosmos. Demon Nikki is saying, "Hi Akvile, a few years back I was with my uncle in the theater watching previews and there was a questionnaire showing. I followed an instinctive feeling and got all the answers right somehow. I did not guess or know any of the answers. How do I regain this ability and how, and like was that intuition?" So like the thing is, like, that's the most exciting part about it, like, is like the consciousness, like every one of us have this ability to know all the answers, to just have the access of that information and knowledge. And like it's exciting because like I've seen it sort of happening for me as well, like especially like in schools, like writing physics exam and I'm like, what the hell, like I'm scoring like perfect, but like actually like I came completely not ready, but I just sort of like random answers, like, oh, okay, like that worked, and like perfect score and all this stuff. So like we found that because as a consciousness we have existed for freaking long, we have tons of timelines and all this stuff, and what we are experiencing here, for example, there's nothing new to it. Like all of it sort of like existed in some way or another. For example, people might watch anime in this world, but they say like, hey, I've never seen this character in my entire life until this moment, but I was in my Ubi a few years back and I saw this exactly same character that I only saw this like right now on like anime. So like people literally meet some of the characters they see in movies, but years before it comes out or shows up or they see that stuff. So like we have the knowledge of those people and like experience and all this stuff. So like lie detector is within you, so to speak. I kind of like lie detector, but like just as a consciousness, we have this like infinite knowing. You, me, and everyone else, we're sort of connected in one way or another. It's not like one has become one and all this stuff, but because like the consciousness is simply like sharing information, knowledge, and all this stuff, we literally can connect to absolutely everything you and your all the other aspects have experienced, and with that you sort of just like gain this massive like knowledge or like download it. And so let's say at that moment when you were in the theater, and when you saw the like questionnaire, you just have this like opening to all the knowledge. And when you saw it, like you just sort of like free flow and you answered everything, but you answered everything perfectly. So you could call this intuition, you could call this like opening to the consciousness, and like, people call it like higher self and all this stuff. It's not a big deal. Like I don't really like putting labels on it, but like literally that's when you're just open to who you are for real. And if we work on getting off like with like getting rid of these limits and all this stuff, we get better. And it's actually like weird or like interesting, because like when I'm talking about it, I'm getting this kind of like a slow knockout, as if like someone was how to say, like just like trying to get me to pass out. I'm like I'm talking like, oh. So it's weird, but like I've actually like I also like this sort of thing, because I know some people don't like this whole thing and just try to target me in all that way. It usually shows up in sessions, like for example, like working on people who have been like victims of secret space program and all this stuff, and then you look at exactly the right stuff, and they're like targeting you, like causing headaches, to sort of like have you refocus. So it's pretty common. Cosmos Knight is like asking like, what does the astral body appearance depend on? Sometimes I'm a blondie, or super lifeless, or bitchy. Is it dependent upon projections from the other people? It's gonna be like a mix of everything. For example, you might have a default state of who you are, and like for example, like in this life you might have one look, but not because this life affects you, but just sort of like what kind of body have you had in other lifetimes, and how often did you had this body. So like that, like you can have like, let's say that blonde or like other bodies appear more often because you've just used them more often in other lives. But at the same time, sometimes it can be projections from other people. Sometimes it can be entities like just sort of like projecting how we look and all this stuff. So there's like a lot of variations, but at the same time, no matter how you look, you can always change it up. So like there's not like clear like one thing that affects it. There's tons of things, like, you know, how you believe about yourself, how you see yourself, you know, like other like past lives, or like things you connect to throughout the day. For example, one day you have more feelings, or like let's say one personality that's more dominant, but that personality can actually be another part of your aspect or consciousness that you're connecting to. So for example, you look one way, but that other part of your consciousness with this like major personality we're using today has another look. And so like when you're in the astral, you find the same look that your like other aspect had, or you basically connect, and now you are that aspect that had certain personality. So like a lot of like variations and reasons for it. So yeah, like just be open to that. Flowers in the Wind is asking, like, many people now have a magnetic nanotech in them. Do you know how it's affecting people, thoughts, emotions, etc.? I was actually working with a few people like who actually like show like their like photos and like other things, and like live with me. They just like bring magnets and like they just like stick to their face or body and all this stuff. So like a lot of these things, and some of the major things they're getting is more of a voice to skull. If some of you have heard about it, or like remote neuro like wait remote neural transmission, kind of like that, RNA or something. No, how is it called? I'm not getting it right. Let's see. Remote. Oh, remote neural monitoring. Yeah, like we're like they can use technologies to actually get to our heads and all this stuff. But those are like actually like able to get into anyone, and at the same time, who knows? Like, you know, like with all the nanotech, it can be in the chemicals and all the other parts. So like it's too easy to get it within us and actually not feel any special, but it's happening. So there's that. With people I have actually talked to who are more of those that have the magnetic nanotech in them, they're more of victims of, let's say, abductions, like Secret Space Program 20 and back and all the other stuff. At least the ones I've talked to, like 5-6 people that had this sort of thing. But I don't really have that much experience to actually tell you all about it. It's just like here's a few little few things I noticed in my clients as I talk to them, but not that much. Cos was asking, like, what's my sign? Cancer, if you're asking about the zodiac. I'm Cancer. You know, like, try to cure that. Marcel MC is asking, like, and to cure some diseases, is it possible to heal with just the mind? I would say like 100%. And the best example I can give is Joe Dispenza. Like, there are literally people who have been sitting in the wheelchair for 25 years, and literally within a week of this mental work, they've been able to stand up. People who have been deaf, people who couldn't see that much, people who had other problems, like literally cancer or tumor, literally within the week or a few days, boom, change. So there's a lot of those. Like me myself, I have actually not met Joe Dispenza. There's some people saying like, oh, he's not good and all this stuff, but like I leave it to those that have personal experience with him. Because me myself, like I actually just like saw some of his videos. He has some good info, but like, you know, like can't vouch for the person. Like, oh, person is awesome. So, but anyway, like look into Joe Dispenza. You might actually be surprised with all the good stuff. Wow. Joe Dirt is saying, 5 years ago I was dying of heart failure, couldn't walk up to the mailbox. I believed in healing my heart. Today I can run when I should be dead. Something in beliefs. Damn. This is so good. Literally, this is the gold. Starseed is asking, when you die, can you turn into a physical person and see what they're doing on their phone? But what would happen if you touch their phone? You can flip the actual screen of the alive person phone? I haven't tried that. Like, literally, I don't really have an interest playing around. Like, let's say if I was to get out, then come back and playing around with people here, I literally have no interest. So because I myself have not tried it, I could not really tell you about it. And I have not met people who would like actually get like either drop dead or get out of body and then go and play with people's phones. Like, I literally have no idea. I believe like let's say from the other aspects, physical body drops dead, you're free. I would like go into more like not seeing them through their phone, but like what they're doing on their phone. Like, is that what you're saying? Yeah, like, you know, like fly up to the person, just like being that little ghost is like fucks with everyone if you want. Stand next to them, look at what they're doing. Like, I'm not sure if you would be able to affect the phone and actually like touch it and like flip it. Lack of energy, lack of connection with the reality, and all the stuff would be a thing. But you could try. That would be up for you to Starseed. You'll have to try it out if you want. Hakan is asking, is the reincarnation soul trap still ongoing? To my knowledge, yes. There's plenty of those. Sadly. Mikkel has a good one. Saying, I was running today for an hour, but when I was done, my watch showed me that only 15 minutes was gone. Was I kidnapped and molested in space? Talking to a few people who actually sort of like experienced this like loss of time, like literally playing in the park, going to pee, coming out, and all the kids that were in the park, and it just like less than a minute, coming back and no one's there. Like crowds of people, families gathering around, no one's there the next moment, like literally as if hours have passed and all this stuff. And tons of our experience. Like, so for that, good one. Kidnap, molesting in space. Possible. If you feel any change, like how did you feel after that like experience? Like, did you feel emotionally different? Like, how was your physical body? Any sort of like changes within your dreams and like energy and all this stuff? That would be like lots of questions. Because one thing is like loss of time, possible abductions and all this stuff. Too easy. Way too easy. Anthony Jones is saying, I just had the weirdest experience. I intuitively knew you were streaming, and then I checked, and so you were. Amazing. Great. Like, I'm actually like having more and more people sort of have similar experience, like where they're doing something throughout the day, and they just have this urge to check my channel, and boom, like, you know, like, hey, they finally like see me. So like, it's cool. Cosmos is asking, like, what happens when you keep dreaming a house recurrently? How can I access that actual space? I mistake it for this apartment. Could it be a natural double to my condo? In my dreams, I cry about leaving, and I'm attached to this space, but it appears differently and many more people inhabit it. Yeah, so like regarding, let's say you are in the astral, you're out of body, and you're constantly finding yourself in this one apartment, in this one house, and all this stuff. It's quite a common experience. And from my take, a lot of times it's actually the projection or more like a construct. For example, you could like you're in the astral and you can be free and you can go exploring and look at what you want. But because of that freedom you have, someone else does not want you exploring and finding information and bringing it back here, which means they want to put you more in the construct. And then they sort of like you keep appearing in one space. You keep seeing same old house, same old apartment, you're in it, and then sometimes you're just sort of like not finding ways to get out, or you feel like you're stuck in all this stuff. So yeah, like constructs, default settings of like spawning, like Sarsi said, and all this stuff. There's like a lot of variations, but at the same time, sometimes like there are beings. Like, do you notice any specific beings in this space? Someone who constantly appears, beings or even items? Because sometimes you're sort of like looking, what is the source of this space? Like, who's creating it? Why am I appearing it again and again and again? And so you literally can find this item or being who constantly, let's say, teleports you to this space, and they want to keep you trapped. And like, let's say they're simply looking like a book or like a TV controller or something else, but this is kind of like hiding in a plain sight, and they're like sort of like trying to hide while you're trapped and you can't get out. And now this whole time, while you could actually explore and do something, you end up being trapped. So one thing I would sort of like suggest you to look is like, consider this whole apartment or space maybe being a construct, and imagine expanding it more, expanding it, and then shrinking and expanding. It's kind of like you know, like a gum that you like. The more you play with it, the more you can like break it. So literally, like you can like just like expand it to like this super massive until it actually explodes or whatever. There's that. Looking for the source, like you're saying, like it's more of a spawning thing. So who spawns you there? Is it just default setting and you just appear there, like you're free and then you just appear there? And are there like specific people or items? Because like those things could just keep attracting you, and then I would sort of like I don't know, suggest you to look for the source. So like you don't even have to like wonder about it, more like sort of direct your attention to the source of this place, who's creating it, who's making it, and just imagine that thing like exploding, deleting, being unmocked, like uncreated and all this stuff, and so you would be free from that. Other parts, you can program yourself, for example, if there are any doors in the like apartment or a house, you sort of like program like every door is a portal for you out. And so like the moment you open the doors is like the moment you create the portal and you actually can leave. So like a lot of variations, but a lot of times those places are more like construct. And like there's a lot of people, like for example, who get out constantly, but they end up staying in this one room, in one apartment, one house, one specific place. And a lot of times more like just like a way to control us and keep us engaged in like one little thing, but then we can't get out and we get pissed off, or like our energy changes and we wake up and like like we were out there, we were free, but stuck in this one environment. So like that'd be like good things. Another thing like you might want to try out, like with the questions, like asking like who's creating this whole construct or space is a good one. I would say like clarity on your own things, like intention to leave or intention to expand this whole place, intention to, let's say, any possible door will create an extended realm to wherever you want to go. So like for example, they might mess with you by trying to spawn you to the specific location, but you instead end up programming their location to use it as a portal to go wherever else you want. So just sort of like direct like your attention, or simply focus on like expanding this whole place, and like any possible door will actually lead you to there, and that'd be a thing as well. Samir Yusuf is asking, like, is infinity repeating itself? Like, everything happening has happened will, like, well, everything that has happened will happen, like, all over again. Yeah, like, with that one, I wouldn't really go for that. Like, I mean, like, we have experienced the same sort of, like, relationships. So, for example, like, being in same sort of relationships, having similar apartments, seeing similar movies and all this stuff, like, a lot of, like, same old experiences, but the thing is, you're the creator. So for example, like, you create in one circumstance, but then you always keep changing it, adding more people, doing different things, so you have, like, a massive variety of what to do. And I would not say, like, it's repeating absolutely the same way. Not everything. You can always make new decisions, and it's not like your life is controlled in every single way, and like everything you're saying or you've ever done has already happened before. So I'm just sort of like taking my time to chill, reading comments and all. And we'll see what's up. Cosmos Knight is also saying, like, I feel I'm mostly affected by the soul fragments from others. It's totally a thing. Do you feel like their fragments are more like draining you and taking things from you, or overwhelming you and implanting things in your space? What's more of the feelings like when you encounter other people and their soul fragments? Is it like taking from you, or overwhelming you with things? Elaine is saying, Akvile, so does a person with many broken off soul shards explain why they have like 70 different personalities? I would say so, yeah. It's like, there's like tons of beings, but at the same time, it's like not necessarily broken off, but just like, let's say, throughout the multiverse, or like throughout your whole existence, you're trying out lots of different lives, you encounter tons of different beings, and sometimes they end up like being like really close, like a family, like friends, and you know, they end up like wanting to be with you all the time. And eventually you're like, you don't have to incarnate here, but as a consciousness you can be with me. And then we end up traveling like clusters, like their personalities, their beingness is with us. And then let's say you incarnate here, but their parts are close to you, they're close to your space. And then at the same time, there's like bits of consciousness, and then we have entities. And now we have clusters of both, like people and beings we have had great connection with, and those that are actually there to mess with us whether they want it or not. Like, so like we have like massive variations. And then we can have literally like billions of different clusters of entities, billions of different clusters of like other beings that are actually here to help us. And every day, like people who are saying like, oh, I'm moody, and like literally you see these mood swings and how you change, and like let's say one person, 6 different opinions about one thing, you know? So like we have tons of variations, and sometimes we might not have like this prime being. Because like one day you're feeling like it, but then things happen in life that might trigger you, where it is like good and like it makes you happy and passionate, and all of a sudden from this chill person you change into like, I'm gonna do this, and you're like motivated to achieve something. And sometimes things crush you and you don't want absolutely anything, and you're just like, fuck life, I just want to sleep. So like there's like a lot of personalities and how we react to life, but at the same time a lot depends because of a lot of these beings in our space, how they react to things. And sometimes, for example, you hear something coming at you, like people might want to insult you, or something happens around in life, and you might have no reaction, but it's the entity cluster reacting next to you, and now the entity cluster gets pissed off, and you are the one picking up the entity cluster, and you are okay, but then that entity cluster is like reacting, and you like sort of like feel or assume what they're thinking and feeling is now yours. and so now whatever they're experiencing is you're experiencing it, and you assume that it's you getting angry, it's you getting pissed off, and all of a sudden we act through it, but it's just the entity clusters, and we it's a misownership of thoughts and feeling states, so like it doesn't belong to us, but we assume it is, and they end up messing with us in that way. So like it's really good to sort of like pay attention to how these things affect us, because sometimes you might have like this like it's gonna be like a major feeling state. Sometimes like there's gonna be a trigger, and part of you will get like, this person just fucking hates you, and like you might actually react to this person, and they trigger you, they piss you off, they make you feel bad, wrong, and guilty, and all this stuff, and you get triggered, so you might feel bad, wrong, and guilty, disappointed, aggravated, and all this stuff, and there's another part of you that's gonna start reacting and doing something about it. Are you feeling aggravated and you want to launch off of them and say something bad, or do you feel bad and then you want to close off? And eventually the following of emotions, like you feel this and this and this, like there's the whole cluster of like steps of what you feel, but literally it is the entity cluster that like, oh, how dare you call me that, and all of a sudden they got all pissed off, and you assume it's you getting pissed off, and then there's like these entities that like will feel like, okay, I just got aggravated, and they're like, oh, and I need to defend myself, and like all of a sudden you get pissed off, and then now you feel like you need to defend yourself, and now there's the entity cluster saying, you motherfucker, and like whatever, like tons of comments, so you literally move from one cluster to another, and like your feeling states and how you think and how you react to things is literally run and controlled by these entities, and like it's such a fascinating subject, because eventually you're like, hey, I never felt aggravated in the first place. I never felt the hate, nor did I want to come at people and say something. I never wanted to feel disappointed, I never wanted to close off, I never wanted to hate someone or anything. And all these feelings that eventually like, oh, it's not me. I'm okay. I'm fine. I never had these things in the first place. It's actually the clusters. And then once you realize the truth about how everything works, you literally take care of these clusters, and now these beings come at you again, and you're like, what? Like literally no reaction to the same thing they just did. So there's like a lot of these things happening, like because in our past lives, like duality does not exist. So literally in one life you can be with your best buddies, and you can exchange words and try to cuss about each other, try to insult each other, try to kill each other, but eventually you're just having fun, one way or the other. There's no pain, you just had fun, okay, done. And that's great. But like coming here, they affect in this way where like, you know, like we get tons of these clusters, and we assume that like whatever we're experiencing is actually tons of clusters from the other ones. So yeah, there's a lot to it. There's a whole lot to it. So now I'm just like reading comments of what people say as I'm slowly scrolling down and getting to the other questions. And also, can you hear me okay? Because I'm a bit further from the mic than usual. So yeah. Mic is good. Okay, thank you, John. So I'm right now reading a question from John West. After focusing on getting a love relationship over a month, I find it a little discouraging. I'm not being noticed in the way I would like by the other person. I was expecting by now to see something. What is helped you not to focus on the version of the person you're currently seeing if you interact with them almost daily? I guess, like, for me, I was more like putting the person above myself. And it was not about, like, I wanted to be with that person, but then eventually, more than, like, something more than I wanted to be with that person is I wanted that person to be, like, really happy. And whereas it's with me or something, like, I sort of, like, I just need to manifest that. And so, for me, I was like, okay, like, I know the current situation and how things are working, and I might not see the results yet, but I ended up, like, let's say, meditating and doing the energy work, but, like, focusing, let's say, on the person being super happy. Not necessarily with me or something, but just focusing on that smile and just that good feeling state, and, like, just, like, overflowing them with the love and energy and everything else. So, like, I think for me, it's not just, like, trying to manifest the person in my life, but at the same time, just, like, creating the connection. I think that was the thing that sort of, like, might have had an effect. But at the same time, let's see. Yeah. What has helped you to not focus on the version of the person you're currently seeing if you interact with them almost daily? I guess, like from the point I understand, like, like, you are creating that life and, like, visualizing things every single day, but then you see that person daily and you're just not seeing absolutely any changes. Like, like, hey, I create my life where we're together and everything's perfect, but then I see you at work or somewhere else and it's just, like, not a single look, nothing changes. Like, what the hell? So with that, like, really depends, because, like, for example, you might be creating all the states. It's like, that, like, at least we have a joke in Lithuania where a person is asking, like, God, please help me to win a lottery ticket, like, with the, like, $1 million or whatever, and the God is like, at least buy a ticket. So one thing for me is that I was at least interacting. While I was creating and trying to manifest everything, I did interact with a person. And that might be a bit against what you want. Like, I know, like, you wanted to, let's say, without interaction, you wanted to manifest the person coming into your life, at least from what I remember. And if you're still sort of like, okay, like, I still want to see if I can make it happen, so instead of, like, trying to have a conversation and, like, talking to the person, just working on the manifestation, like, really takes time. But it's like, it's a shitty answer, like, oh, it just takes time, like, not like that. Interacting and saying stuff, like, I wonder, like, if you have, like, talked to the person before, and, for example, with all this energy work you do, you try to talk the second time after a while, and do you notice any changes? So that might be, like, a thing where, like, for example, you work on them, and now on your timeline you connect and everything is different. Like, they will be more open to you, they will feel more connected from the conversation, but the conversation, for example, needs to happen. So, like, there's, like, a variety of, maybe you have everything set up and ready, but now you need to talk or something. And, for example, the person, maybe I would even, like, suggest, like, let's say, revoking some soul contract agreements, like, the person is not seeing me, ignoring me, not talking to me, or, like, some other things that, like, for example, like, the way you see the situation, like, is there, like, no contact, or they don't change in your eyes or whatever, and then I might try to, like, move things over there. Maybe that would be a possibility as well. Yeah, I hear you, John. Like, because for me, the biggest change for me was, like, let's say, with all the visuals and everything else. But years later, like, once I, like, let's say, like, learned Torah 6 basic human needs, now I learned to actually help out people and emotional, like, they sort of like, oh damn, that person is really good for me. And all of a sudden, let's say, you assure their, like, certainty, and then you give them more variety in life, and, like, you just satisfy their needs in that way. And for me, because I was able to use it, I actually, like, noticed a massive change. So this sort of, like, ability to communicate and impact things that way is big. But you're not playing there. Like your whole field of the game is different. It's just more like I'm not gonna interact with the person, and I'm gonna try to bring that person here without actually making the first contact myself. And that is, I guess, like where you're like not just visualizing, but then putting in more of a work. For example, like revoking agreements, like a sin, like okay, like you're doing the work but you're noticing things not happening, and now the beliefs are like, oh, it's just not gonna work, or like I'm just not seeing changes, the person doesn't care, the person does not change, and all this stuff. So now these things, like you're getting closer to that, like more layers, like you're digging deeper to the point where you're noticing like deeper layers that are actually out there blocking things, and I would probably like try to remove those. But yeah, I probably would try that then, because like I literally had this like whole thing of missing the person, and then let's say like damn, it's been a while since we talked, like maybe a month, and like I don't have their number, or like there's like an issue, like I either didn't have a number or I did not have credits to call, and like even if I tried to call I was ignored 100%. And like I started like, let's say, doing like soul contract revocation. I think I still have a notebook with all the agreements, but I was like, oh, this person doesn't call me, this person is ignoring me, I'm like, yeah, I'm not even sure if that person is thinking about me and all this stuff. And literally I end up like describing the whole situation, and while doing the whole process the person called me after a month of like no connections. Like what the hell. So like I would like suggest that. Like I seen like changes myself, and like I might want to try it out. But then like remember that like it's gonna be layers. It's not gonna be like one thing to address, but like consider it as an area, as in like what is stopping you from like let's say, what is stopping that person from interacting with you, or how do you see the connection not happening? Is it like the person doesn't see you, you two don't talk, the person maybe wants to talk to you but is afraid to engage, and so you have to go through like a lot of possibilities of what you know and then what you assume about the situation and see what would happen. So like I would go with like varieties, but at the same time like revoke a lot of those agreements probably. Okay, so I'm just like slowly scrolling down and seeing the other questions. Um, Yuri, I wanted to thank you for the donation. I'm still sort of like slowly scrolling down, and I'm gonna get to your question. But like right now, like Matthew Nixon was asking, I wonder if you can find love in the astral, and that's 100% yes. We have tons of relationships like from the past, but even like let's say you're done on Earth or you simply get out of body, you can meet tons of different beings who are out there, fully conscious, fully aware, free will, and everything else. And you might interact with them and actually find like really good friends, lovers, and all this stuff. And literally, you can have like quite a few relationships. For example, you come here on Earth and you might have husband, wife, best friends, and all this stuff. But at the same time, you get out of body and you come back to your another family, another relationship, and all this stuff. So like, there's like plenty of possibilities, and you can definitely have tons of relationships out there. Hmm. Flowers in the Wind is asking, is it useful to remove barcodes such as blood barcodes, death barcodes, stress barcodes, mind matrix barcodes, natal barcodes, spirit barcodes, abduction barcodes, and ascension codes? 100%. Like, the way soul consciousness is affecting us and, like, limiting our life, if the barcodes are, like, kind of, like, similar, go for it. Invaders from Mars is saying, Akvile, I keep seeing as a blonde, blue-eyed alien. Great, you probably found another part of me somewhere. Anthony Jones is asking, like, so Kiddo, what's next for you after this life? What are you going to do? I'm like 100% going to one of my planets where, like, before this, it's kind of like my recovery rehab planet. It's like literally like a lot of beings who just like, I like this place because you don't have to talk. You don't have to move your mouth at all. You don't have to use words to explain how you feel. Like those beings, they just look at you and they completely understand you. They understand how you feel, what you've been through. They simply like look at you and like see it into your soul. And like I know, like that place is just amazing. That place, like people connect to you. People like know exactly all about you. Like this is what I miss in this life. Like I'm so happy like when I can connect to people at the level where I can look at them and I will have certain feelings and they look at me and they understand exactly how like what I'm going through, what I'm feeling and all this stuff. But like it's rare. And like my whole life I like literally had super hard time explaining or like just like trying to put my feelings into words and all this stuff. And like in that world it's like it's a whole different perspective. It's like finally like I can just be myself and everything I've been through, people just look at me and know exactly everything I've experienced, and then they're able to be there for you, to support it, to give you love and all this stuff. And this is my like, oh, I love this place. You know, like just like my rehab for everything, kind of like recovery time, and then back to other places. Like for example, like every time my physical body falls asleep, I'm sort of like 99% of the time I'm fighting myself in this whole like tons of different world like wars and locations where people need help. So like I'm constantly in their planets like fighting and helping out and like being involved in something. So I'm pretty sure like after like a bit of recovery time I'm gonna go help out more people, and then I don't know, like just like look for something better because this place like I don't want to come back. I had enough of the once like, so make sure like people I'm helping out right now, like they're done, they're not coming back, or like if they do, like okay, bye, not coming for you. So yeah. Yeah, so Yuri Gressel is asking, like, has your spirits been lifted and are you feeling motivated again? Yeah, like, the bigger changes, like, I had, like, let's say I was changing up my work, like, I made it so, like, okay, no, like, I'm not gonna sell more sessions for a while, so, like, I took a nice break and actually, like, had a really good recovery time from that, because, like, it felt like, it used to be, like, I'm gonna do sessions, and I do one session and I'm knocked out for hours, like, literally, like, addressing some really hardcore stuff of like victims of rape and like human trafficking and like my lab and all the other things, and just like trying my best to help out people. But damn, some of the stories, and it's not just like listening to the person like what they've been through, but then actually connecting to their past life, seeing everything like clearly, like being in their shoes, feeling all that pain is like, okay, one of those like doing one session and then being knocked out for hours. And then just sort of this sort of like stuff became more and more overwhelming as there were like just started like more clients like that. So like taking quite a long break, I guess, like from doing such as like not that many received my work. I found like doing such as I'm like, hey, I'm interested, I'm liking it, it doesn't take much time and I don't need any recovery time. Like I just do the session and I'm like while one video is uploading, or like while one session is uploading and then I'm writing back the email, I already can start taking notes and like work on the art. So like it's much better, much better. And then another one was like my cat, so like I took a break from myself to deal with my emotions, and I'm finally like I know he's doing good, and know he's happy, safe, and everything's fine. I'm like, hey, that's the most thing I was like worried about. Like I just wanted him to be safe and happy somewhere else. And that happened. So like, you know, like, finally the big thing is out of the way, and you know, knowing he's safe, I don't need to worry anymore. So like a lot of these feelings, like even though like physically, like I miss him, I think about him every day. Like I found some of his hairs, and I'm like, oh my god, like so like I'm saving every single thing of him I find, and also like collecting everything, like all his toys. I'm gonna get to the pet shelters and all this stuff. Like, you know, see if I can help those beings out as well. But yeah. After that, like I sort of like fixed myself, and like, you know, like Rich and I were actually playing like Cyberpunk, I think like yesterday or the day before yesterday. So like I might like upload a video as well, like on their like YouTube, but like doing much better, finally. So yeah, I think like I'm also like getting like better, like finally shaking off all those feelings and like getting like just like, hey, more videos, more stuff to share, more stuff to do, and like all that. So that's good as well. And at the same time, sort of like spending more quality time with my relatives, so that's good as well. But yeah, anyway, like thank you for asking, Yuri. Back to business, huh? Samar Yusuf is asking, like, after this cycle of life, if we choose not to incarnate, can we have temporary bodies as we please? Exactly. Like, let's say the physical body drops dead, and then you're free. Then you have the freedom to choose your own looks and change them at any time. You don't have to incarnate anywhere, you don't have to start another life. You can just play around with your looks and do whatever you want, and like if you want, like a lot of realms out there don't actually have the limit where you get in and you cannot get out. And that's the best part about a lot of beings out there, is like if you like literally get into a body anywhere else, you can play around, but if you don't like it, you can move out. So they don't really have the rules of you have to stay here, like your like body's limit and all this stuff. So like you can have the body and enjoy it while you're free, but at the same time you can tune in and get into the life and come out anytime. Like it's just the Earth more limited. They're like also like some of the worlds, but more controlled, and it's actually like very visible and known, and like a lot of people are like actually telling people about like don't go to this place because blah blah blah. So like a lot of variations, but like yeah, you can totally have your free time and enjoy the temporary bodies and switch them up any way you want and all that. So again, I'm slowly scrolling down through the questions and seeing what I can answer. Keymaker is asking, okay, Akvile, so Earth is a shared experience, so are UBI environments, but what do you think is creating or governing the rules of these environments? An example, what is able to be shared there? So from my experience, for example, a lot of beings can be in one universe, but at the same time, because there's plenty out there and there are not that many rules. For example, like billions beings out there and then billion more coming up at any point in time, and there are new players there, for example, but they don't know for example, rules or something else. Some of those like areas have no rules or like governing, and there's just like full freedom. Like you do what you want, and a lot of times people, for example, just like create their own space. Like collectively find a group, maybe 100, maybe 1,000, maybe a million beings, and they collectively create one place, not just the planet, but like the whole universe itself. And from then on, they sort of like decide what is gonna be like the rules of like what kind of beings can come here, what kind of qualities do they need to have, the physics, for example, shapes and all the stuff, and they sort of like cover everything, and they now make their own like game, and so you need kind of like a special access to get in there if it's like that detailed. But it's like sometimes like some universes will have the rules, and for example, like even like once you just like appear there, a lot of times like there will be beings who come close to you, or just when you appear, you sort of like have this knowing, oh, it's a different place, I'm gonna play around differently. But sometimes, like for example, like people are like out there agreed, like let's say not to fly or not to have certain abilities, and here you are appearing in their space, and they might see us weird, like we are like some people like, oh my god, aliens, the UFOs, and like we go all crazy. Some people will react to us that way, like if they have a normal life and we appear there and we're flying, they're gonna like, oh, it's one of those, for example, or like they might be creeped out, they might think it's normal because they have seen others like us. So like lots of variations, and really depends on some of the communities, because like there are like plenty of spaces out there where there are no rules, where people just do whatever they want, and other places like, hey, we might be involved in this massive universe where there are no rules, but we have our own planet and we have rules here, so don't fuck with us or else. And like lots of variations. So like it's just a massive sandbox, and each place can have their own rules if they want it. So I'm still like scrolling down, but like just another comment by Andromeda, and like saying like, Akvile, who can someone be multiple star people? If you're asking like about like, let's say being starseed and all this stuff, I would say everyone. Every single one of us is a starseed, just because the way I understand it and see it, in the past you have lived in different planets. You have lived as a different race. You might have been a Pleiadian, you might have been an Andromedan, you might have been like a Lemurian, like a Lyran, and like tons of other like races, tons of other places. And so like because we exist for so freaking long and we have tons of experiences, you go from one place to another, and you might sort of relate to some beings, while to some like not so much, but eventually we visit like lots of star systems, we visit lots of stars and like planets and all this stuff, and eventually you come here. So because you've been in those places, because you've been in those like with those different races, you are a starseed, each and every one of you. So I would say like feeling special about being a starseed, or feeling like, oh damn, like that person is a starseed, I'm not. Why not? Like, if I want to be like that, like don't feel bummed out. Don't feel like you need to be something and all this stuff. Like the way I see, like everyone's like that. Like no need to feel special or anything. We've literally experienced everything. Can I tell you what starseed you are? Man, like you're calling yourself Andromedan, why is that? You might have been with Andromedans if you're like having any recalls, like you mentioned you have a spaceship and all this stuff, so like you've already connected with some races, so there you go. One of your races is Andromedans, and there some of your races might be someone else. So like tons of variations. And also like I'm seeing you also had a question like regarding, can you tell me why I am forced to incarnate here? There's also tons of reasons for that. Sometimes people like are working there like healers, like informant, and sometimes we simply might be involved with like a war, like working with some of the groups, and there will be other parties who are like, hey, we're playing a game here and you're getting in the way, or they might see like, you as a threat, and simply a lot of powerful people, they will be the sort of deceived, like they hear some dumb stories and actually fall for them. And a lot of people are like, let's say We consider ourselves to be good beings. We consider ourselves like, oh, well, actually, I'm kind. I don't like hurting others. I don't really like wars and all this stuff. So we like define ourselves of who we are, how we are, and all this stuff. And eventually, they know what we're up to, and they come to us, tell us the story like, well, you're that being that doesn't like wars, right? And you're like, and like eventually, like, you know, like agreeing to what they're saying, and eventually getting their agreement from and ending up here. So like being fortunate, like they have lots of technologies and lots of other things to work us, like tons of reasons to trap us, but the main one is actually just like consider a lot of people here being the enemy of certain groups because we're powerful. You have consciousness, you have ability to create, you have ability to manifest things, and literally like one imagination, one thought, and boom, you're manifesting it. Because they can do it, because some of the races cannot, they literally have to spend years and years harvesting materials, creating things and all this stuff, like as in making building and all this stuff, and like they have a massive fleet, and it takes you 1 second to destroy everything that they worked for thousands of years. So because you're a massive threat, they're more like, lock that person here, because only then we can be free and continue our war. So like a lot has to do with literally you being a worker in one way or another, like engineer, architect, healer, warrior, like some like tons of things that you can do in the past lives. And like really depends on some of the things you feel more like in this life. Can you relate to some of that stuff or not? Like, really depends. And I would say, like, you know, you'd have to sort of like look yourself, maybe try some past life regression. Maybe if you're getting out of body or in the astral, look at the past lives of yourself. Like, try it out. Also, John West, thank you for the donation. Appreciate it. Celtics is saying, Akvile, since listening this evening, I removed entities once, sent others twice, and pulled back from locations once. Do you work on entities while being awake, or do you work only out of body? I'm doing both, and mainly while I am awake. For example, like being fully awake, then I can actually like look at, are there any feelings that are popping out? Do I get like triggered somewhere? Are there any people like who have those things? And like just like literally everything I'm seeing and perceiving in this life, I'm like trying to see if there's like any connections to the entities and all this stuff. And while I'm fully awake, I'm doing the work. Like when I get out of body, I have other things to do. It's like a whole different direction. Cosmos is like saying, Akvile, are you familiar with the black goo, dark web surrounding astral bodies? Is that possible? I would say it's like fully possible. Like there's some of that like here on Earth, but like whatever we have here on Earth, for example, like some beings are just conscious of like such things happening, and then when they go into the astral, they end up like, let's say, imagining like, well, what does that thing look like, and they create it, and then let's say AI takes over and like just like runs free of those creations and like adjust it, mutates it and all this stuff. So like lots of variations, but just consider like the way you can imagine and manifest things. There will be area of beings who might want to simply play around with their abilities or do something else, and not everyone is like, oh, I want to help out humanity, I want to make things different, I want to make things better. More like there are like plenty of people who are like, I want to, like, one of my physical body jobs that I want to be a ghost and mess with people. I want to fuck with them. I want to scare them in their dreams and all this stuff. It's like, why would you do that? But like some people are like, oh, why not? It's fun. It's like, so like different priorities, different feelings and all this stuff. But there are like plenty of people who would consciously create such things and try to like limit others. So it happens a lot of times. Sarsi D is asking, Akvile, what planet you are the leader of right now in the Astral, and do you have one of your own? Yeah, I have plenty of planets like of my own. I have lots of planets where I'm leading things. I'm not gonna reveal the names, because like I like it private. So, you know, like just gonna keep it the way it is. Andromeda is also asking, like, can I teach you the technique of, like, of how you could go home by being, like, your original place, I guess. I think, like, I have plenty of videos on, like, tips on getting out of body. That would, like, probably be the best way. But even then, like, you know, like, the question is, like, can you actually get into the astral or get out of body? Because, like, I've heard you mention you having your own spaceships and all this stuff, so if you have such an awareness, have you, like, what kind of experience have you had? Like, have you actually got out or not? And then from then, like, if you don't have the abilities, then build up to the, like, lucid dreaming. But even then, like, let's say beings that you're feeling more in touch with, those that you're more connected with, reach out to them. Like find someone you trust. Maybe your lover, maybe your family there, maybe your best friends, whatever. People from the planet, or like let's say race that you know, and define them by standards. For example, the way someone would look for a spirit guide. Like, say, I want my spirit guide to be understanding and to be there to help me out, not necessarily guide me or anything. I want actually just more information and answers. No deception, no lying, no. Like, just like I would basically define things I would like and would not like, things I accept and not accept, and same way you sort of like program things. What is it that can happen and cannot happen? And so now that you put out the requirements in the open, let's say in your mind you have an intention to reach out to your family or people from your home planet, you give them requirements of who can meet you, and those that have actually met you in the past will actually, yeah, like, that's my buddy, and they will come to you. And like, for example, you might see them in your dreams, you might just have these like downloads of informations, or like the different feeling states just coming in. And for example, you might feel more inspired and at ease and everything else. So like, these things can happen, but like one thing you have to do is like put out the intention to connect to your family or your home planet and all this stuff, and then define the requirements, because then a lot of people might actually, or like let's say beings might actually want to pretend to be that, and you need to make sure you don't allow anyone else that's negative or that's gonna lie to you. So like, be sure to put out the requirements, like kind of like reading like someone's CV, or like, I don't know, like job like list of like, would you like hire this person or not, you know? So like, just like put out what is it that you want and need, and then you just like might get this telepathic connection, so that just like be open for it now. Bill Horse has a question, but there's like a word I'm not sure if I'm not getting right, or this is just like a whole different way of saying it. But like yeah, Bill Horse is asking, Aquila, do you have an opinion or any exercises dealing with entities or law of attraction spirits related to voodoo, or you mean voodoo or voodoo? Like, I'm not sure if I'm defining it right. Like voodoo dolls, like kind of like voodoo magic, whatever. But yeah, like, what's your opinion on the spiritual frequency of voodoo? So yeah, if I assume you're talking about what you're talking about, if I assume like it's actually kind of like voodoo dolls, voodoo magic, and all this stuff, then I would try to locate, let's say, spirits, entities, and all this stuff, spiritual frequencies. Like like what's your daily feeling state, and how does your body react to things? Because like a lot of times, for example, you're doing good, but out of the blue you get this ache. For example, like you're like, oh, like my back aches, or like you might just get this kind of like the needle sting, just like one little point coming into your body, and like it hurts in one location, or maybe it affects the bigger area of your body, or maybe it's not even the physical body, but your, like, let's say, emotions, your feeling state is just going sideways and they're being more controlled. So I would say, like, pay attention to what's going on in your daily life, and from then on, can you differentiate, like where's it coming from? What's the source? Can you find, like, is it actually just the entities, or is it actually, like, let's say your astral body's being cloned, and those clones are actually like voodoo dolls that are being messed with, and you're the one picking up the results. So if you have like assumptions like, oh, like actually they have my clones out there, it can be the actual clone, it can be energetic clones and all the other clones, and whatever happens to those bodies, like whether they're being messed with, whether they're being sort of like projected different dreams and realities and agreements and all this stuff, you look at those things if you can connect to it, and then just imagine destroying those bodies or whatever. It's like lots of variations, but like I think again, like your visuals is your best tools. Invaders from Mars is saying, Akvile, can you get alien vampire women off me? I keep seeing them. They come from Venezuela. Yeah, buddy, like, write to me on email, akvilesav@yahoo.com. It should be in the description. Like, I don't know, like, maybe you can tell me more about it. If you have photos, send it off. Like, I might actually be able to do something about it. Like, I don't know. We'll see. Some energy work, disconnecting, of course, and all this stuff. Maybe. Matthew Nixon is saying, "Oh really? So do you think if I cloned you in the astral and married you, would that be fair? LOL, if that's even possible." So like I think like the like last comment like was with me being blue or like blonde, blue-eyed alien or something like that. So yeah, totally possible. The thing is like we have tons of bodies out there. Like while my one of my, let's say, my awareness is within this physical body, and is like my primary state right now, I have plenty of other bodies out there, and they have their own lives, and there's like plenty of other different relationships going on. And literally, if you're like, oh, I really like Akvile, but like maybe it's not available in this lifetime, so I would like to have a relationship with her in the astral. So literally, you can like think of a version of myself, whatever you want me to look like. Like, oh, Akvile should be like this, and literally like I can have another like part of me move into that body and literally have a relationship with you. So there's like open communications. There's nothing wrong with it. So for example, like plenty of people like, hey, I really like this person, I really like this being, and you just want to connect with them. So there's no stopping, like there's nothing wrong with it. It's not like it's a crime or anything. Like it's like throughout the multiverse we're like super open beings. Super open. So if you feel like you want it, if that would be fun for you, go for it, buddy. Cosmos Knight is asking, is Rich still with you? Yeah, he's in another room, I guess. But same apartment. Saeed is asking, why is there such a push to go home for some, when instead you can build your own empire here on this planet, expand from here outwards? A lot has to do with how people are doing here. Like, some people didn't come here on their own free will. Some people were forced to come here on Earth, and they don't like it. So it's like, you were forced to come to the prison. You're in prison right now. But why escape the prison when you can rule your own prison empire and be buddies with everyone in the prison? Is that a better life? And a lot of people are actually feeling entrapped. A lot of people are feeling like they're just hating this place. They're feeling like this is the hell, this is like the prison planet and all this stuff. And a lot of people like, why stay in this prison when you can have the freedom and everything you want out there? And so people are just like viewing this whole thing as actually escaping the prison rather than creating a good place here. But like at the same time, like I know, like, let's say for example, while being here, I know, like, let's say I'm gonna go out and I'm never coming back. But at the same time, while I'm here, I'm gonna make most out of it. So like I know I'm getting out eventually, but while I'm here, I'm gonna take care of myself, I'm gonna do what I love, I'm gonna do what I like, I'm gonna engage in things I want and all this stuff, and eventually, if I can give any kind of quality or anything that would be valuable to people, I'm all up for it. So building my own empire in that way, like where I share something and maybe it's of value, awesome. But yeah, like lots of variations, like a lot of people like are just feeling trapped, and that's okay, like there's nothing wrong with it. Invaders from Mars asking like, Akvile, can we be free from the cycle of birth and death? Totally, like I think like it exists in a lot of places and Earth is one of them, but at the same time it's a minority compared to all the like places where it's all free. So you don't have to be born and you don't have to die. You can literally come in and have any kind of body, like let's say from a teenager, and like sometimes like let's say the bodies can live for thousands of years. So like even if you're 5,000 year old, you're still kind of looking like a teenager and feeling like a teenager. There's like a lot of like variations with the races and physical bodies out there, and you simply like come in and stay in the body for as long as you like. And the moment you make a decision, okay, I'm done with this place, I'm gonna go explore, literally like kind of logging out of the game, kind of like turning off the movie, you literally shift your consciousness and you're free again. A lot of places don't actually have limitation where you actually like, for example, we come here on Earth and we cannot get out easily. Like literally people either have to die or they have to work really hard and getting out of body or getting somewhere out. And it's not like much of a thing out in some places. Literally you're more like, hey, you go on a planet, you're done sometime, and you get out whenever you want. So like a lot of like places actually have an intention. A lot of places like just like your own rules. If you want, leave at any point in time. There's no limits and all this stuff. So it's all good. Andromeda is saying like 5,000 years looks like a vampire, and I would tell you play Mass Effect, specifically the Asari race. Look at them, 1,000-year-old beings, and they look great. So like, literally people here sometimes like we see movies, we play games, we see TV shows, and all the other stuff, and what has been created here, as we see like fictional stuff we watch or play. It's not like we came up with it like, oh, I have this grand idea of like Star Wars. No, like literally you're like remembering your past lives, you're sort of maybe projecting and like actually seeing those things, and you feel like you're coming up with a story and you're like, I'm so inspired, but literally you're just sort of like recalling the events and putting it into words, and now there you go, here's a script. Now you have a movie, now you have a book, now you have a game. And it's not like people are creating these things up and then making it up or anything. It's actually like, no, you're just remembering your experiences, and now people have it in Hollywood and all this stuff, and we're watching like, oh, this is so cool, they came up with this awesome race. But like, no, like literally the Asari and like other races you might see in like some video games, it's out there. There's plenty of them, even like more differences and more varieties. Oh yeah, Andrew's asking like, would DMT serve as a method to know this life's purpose? I would say yes and no. For me, a lot has to do, let's say, you might have an idea of what to do when you come here. Some people that come here on their own free will, they might have like, oh, I'm gonna come here and do this. And you might have a goal. But you come here, and the game is actually a bit different than you thought it would be. You might find it harder, you understand that you don't have the abilities you used to have anymore. You find yourself more limited, and at the same time, life gets you harsh, and you might feel limited, you might feel trapped, and you might feel crushed, and all of a sudden, like, hey, I had this great idea about what to do, and I just have this, like, great purpose, but what is it? How do I do it? And, like, we're feeling this great thing to do, and, like, all of a sudden, like, we're just looking for it. Like, what is it? And, like, a lot of times, like, some of it is kind of like fake implanted purpose. Sometimes we come here, but we forget our memories. And all this stuff, like, hey, well, I actually don't remember why I'm here. And so, like, just, like, trying to remember our goals or, like, why we came here and all this stuff, even if you remember, it doesn't mean that you were inclined to do it. It doesn't mean that because you've decided in the past that you're going to do something on Earth, that you have to do it. And eventually, this whole purpose on life, like in life and what you do, literally, you find it as you live. You might not like what you have decided in the past. What if you decide to save humanity? And you come in and, like, everyone's, like, alcoholics and drug addicts and people are killing themselves off and they're, like, fake news and everything else, and you're like, how do I save this mess? Like, what the hell? And you're just, like, feeling overwhelmed, and eventually you give up, or, like, you're trying and nothing's changing and no changes, and you eventually feel like nothing's happening and all this stuff, like, it's just massive change, and eventually, like, you give up. So, like, I would say, like, some people might feel this grand goal or purpose, like, as if they have it, but they don't know what it is. And eventually, I would say, the more life you experience and just finding what you love to do, finding what you like, and maybe using that as a little thing. But literally, I think it has to do with our feeling states. Like, how inspired are you about life? How good do you feel every day? And what is it that you would like your life to be like? And just make purpose as you go. It doesn't have to be something grand and big and massive and until you die. It can be something small, like, oh, I'm gonna actually, while I'm alive, I'm gonna help out 5 doggies. I'm gonna help out, like, feed cats. I'm gonna actually talk to an old person and just make their life better. And you can do tons of things. And, like, this whole use DMT to understand and know your life purpose. Yes, you can. You can actually get, like, DMT and, like, maybe get some interesting experiences, and from then on you become more open and you understand things a bit better. Your point of view changes about life. But that does not mean that you will know everything, or even if you find out your life purpose, will you like it? Even if you know, would you like to do it? What if your life purpose, like, you came here as a bad guy and your purpose is actually kill everyone and destroy humanity, and you're like, I don't want that. They're gonna imprison me. And all of a sudden, what if that, So, like, it's okay to not do anything. Like, even, like, if you learn about life purpose, it's up to you. Is it something you want to do? Is it something you like? You can change it any time. You can change it as you go. So, like, even the DMT, while it is helpful and you might get more information if you do it carefully and all this stuff, it does not mean that, like, it's gonna be something great and grand. So I would say just, like, not go with the flow, but more like explore life, find something you like doing, and just sort of, like, make those small things more meaningful instead of looking for something grand that might be kind of even impossible to achieve. So there's that. I'll just keep painting until day. Alejandro, do you have, I don't know, like, Instagram, Facebook, some place where you upload your paintings and art? Like, if you want to share your link here, I'm gonna turn it on. Like, if you want more attention, even my audience isn't super big or anything, like, there's plenty of people and they might actually like your art. So, like, if you want some exposure, I'm here for you to help you out. But yeah, like, just focus on something you love in life, do something you like, enjoy while you can, grow in any way you want and all this stuff, but no need to go for something massive. We're getting low on tea, people. A few more sips left, and it's all cold now. Carson is asking, are there lower realms than that of Earth, like with zero spirituality or awareness whatsoever? Plenty. For example, like, think of it as like switching your radio stations like the Earth might be 104.1, and then all of a sudden you go 104, 103.999, and you just like keep on going on the infinite numbers, and you literally can find tons of even worse scenarios. So like a lot even has to do with like not even like lower realms, but switching our feeling state, switching our like daily life, and that will have its effect on us. So there, just a quickie. Yeah, I'm gonna scroll down, like I'm gonna save up where I stopped the chat. Let's see if you... is that your Instagram, or... I think it's your Instagram. Let's see. Alejandro, like, I'm not sure if it's the right one, so feel free to send me an email with the links to your place. Or just send the link itself if it's possible. And we'll see. I'm actually gonna see if I can find it on Instagram. Alejandro, are you painting shoes? Because like I'm seeing, and I hope it's your place. Let me know. So I'm just taking some chill time looking up our buddy here. Yeah, I think it's yours. Ooh, this is interesting. Yeah. I think I found you. Alright. So, let's go. One and the second one. Okay, I think I have it set up. Let me turn it on more. There we go, people. This is our buddy, Alejandro. If some of you would like to check out his art, it's right here. Tattoo R is one of those places. It's actually like really good. I like it. Oh, this is cool. I really like this one. It's good stuff. Whoa, I like this one too. Good work, buddy. Ooh, that one is awesome. Love this. So, like, do you do the designs yourself, or do people bring you actually what they want and then you kind of like copy paste it or something? Huh, cool. Good stuff. Lots of details. This is cool. There we go. So we have some more. I think it's your other one. So check it out, people. This is cool. Cool stuff. Gorillas, yeah. This is good stuff. 247 costume and lower dash, I think. So check it out, people. If you would like some art and all. Good stuff. Good stuff. I like it. Alright, so we checked out some art. I really like it. Cool. So yeah, if any of you would like some exposure like on your art or something, let me know. Like I think like we could actually make streams and check out like art of you people, like fun art, sand art, like whatever you're doing. Like if I can just like give you more exposure or something, I'm all up for it. Like you're all helping me out on my own platform, and I would like love to give back anything, whether it's information or something else. That being said, Gabriel, I wanted to thank you for another massive donation. You're just like loading me up with all that. Thank you. Oh, Carson is saying, I had a crazy succession of sleep paralysis last night. I tried waking up and I thought I was just lazy to get up. Can this help me get out of body by choice? Yeah, yeah. Sleep paralysis is basically the next choice or like the next step to getting out of body. Like literally going through sleep paralysis and sometimes even encountering really loud sounds, like a lot of visuals or like some like other feeling states. Like like sometimes it might feel like your body is dying, but this is literally like your physical body is just being afraid of letting go of your consciousness, of your soul. So literally, like the sleep paralysis is like the next step. Like I'm really glad you reached the state because you're so freaking close to getting out and being free. So go for it. Like practice some more. Cosmos Night is saying she can help me out with any graphic stuff, YouTube banners, thumbnails. Whoa, whoa! I would actually go for that. Yeah, I would go for that. I myself like I don't give priority to the art or like real lots of details. So if you think like you like maybe you will like watch some of my videos or like those you like and you literally could make a thumbnail for that video, and I could totally like use it. So yeah, if you feel like doing it, go for it. And I'm gonna give you all the credits and links if all so like let me know. Saeed is asking like Akvile, that Atlantis got completely destroyed. The thing is like, how to say it? I was working with a person once, and he was like he had past lives with the Atlantis, but the whole thing is imagine like I don't know like uh, a city, like one city is just a super small part of this world, right? And so it's kind of like the original Atlantis, the whole world of Atlantis is out there with the whole race. And people who were here, they created only a very small version of like depicting of what they've had out there. So it's not like original places here, but more like there are Atlantis, like whole race of them out there. And I've actually like had like a really interesting experience. I don't know, like I might reach out to the person and ask if I could upload those sessions because like it's really interesting, like lots of insights, and especially with the like blood relatives, DNA coding, and all the other things. So might be a thing, might be a thing in the future. Okay, so again, like slowly scrolling down through the comments now. Invaders from Mars is also commenting about the beings he saw and like saying like you have a drawing of these women. Send me the links. Like I feel like in the future, like upcoming streams and all this stuff, I definitely could like or maybe even like make a video, like a weekly video of like reviewing your art or something, and just sort of like giving back something to the community and all. I would totally be up for it. Also, Cosmaster, like I think like you sent the link, but it's not appearing on my end. So if anything, like send me it on Yahoo email. I'm not sure. Like I think I saw the comment with a link, but I'm really not seeing it here on my end. So might be something with the whole app or something. But anyway, 2 hours of a nice stream and answering some really good questions. I think I'm gonna take a break for today and maybe do more sessions or something. But yeah, I had like lots of fun talking to people. Like it's actually like weird. I don't know, like streaming on a different day and actually having like lots of people coming here. So it's totally fun. One last thing, huh? Invaders from Mars is also asking like, Villa, what do you make of the Q plan? I actually like haven't looked that much at the whole community of people and their whole plans and all this stuff. Like I know like some like from what I've read and researched like a little bit, there are those talking about like you know like how like Trump with certain like group of people will be there to change up things and like that would be great if it happens. But like again, like I'm seeing like there's like tons of parties and factions who are being controlled. It's not like I don't see anyone as a savior or anyone's gonna be the hero or anything. But I'm really up for the change. I'm really up for some like exposure and all this stuff. And I'm like, hey, please, like that would be great. But like I really expect things to happen and all this stuff. But anyway, yeah. So again, I think like I answered all the questions for now. So like I'll be wrapping the stream up. Thank you all for joining in, for watching, for asking all the questions, for being here. And I'll see you next time. Christmas shopping? Nah, passing on it. Bye bye.